Hello, welcome to shot number 2 of the GLP-1 I shared last week. Last week my video was actually after I injected my first shot, and I decided this week I would do my shot as I record the video. Now, I chose to do the shot in my upper thigh, so I'll do it, but I'm not going to show it because just of the location that it's at. But what I got all my supplies ready. So I mentioned last week the pharmacy that mine came from via mail order included alcohol wipes, and I got my needle out and my vial of medication. So the same last week I did my left leg. So this week I'm going to do my right leg. So I'm going to just open an alcohol wipe. Now I did just get out of the shower. My hair is still wet, but I am going to go ahead and wipe my upper leg with the wipe, and then I'm going to take both ends off of the needle. I'm going to open up the second alcohol wipe. I'm going to wipe the needle carefully because I mentioned last week this needle is super fine and it is very easy to bend. Then I'm going to take my vial and I'm going to wipe that also. Okay. Then I'm going to turn the vial upside down, insert the needle. Because this is new for me, I'm still on a very low dose, 15. So you can see the vial is marked. The 10 is where the black is. So I'm going to pull down to about the 20, and then I'm going to push back up. I want to be able to see. So I'm going to push back up. Now there's lines. Okay, so here's 10, here's 20. So I want that middle line of 15. So I'm going to push back up until that black gets to the 15. Okay. And I'm going to just take a quick look at it in the light. Make sure that there's no air bubbles in there, which there's not, and you may not be able to tell on here, but there's no air bubbles. So then you're going to kind of pinch the area where you're going to do your injection. Depress the plunger. And hold it there for a second. Now, the hold it there for a second is actually something that I read online that suggested when you depress the plunger to hold it for a second just to make sure that all the medication gets in your skin. So that's why I held it for a second. So then I'm going to just recap. Whoops. Might help if I tried putting the cap on the right way. I'm just going to go ahead and put the cap back on the needle, and I'm going to do both ends too. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Now, the place that I got mine from, I mentioned this last week, sent me 3 months at a time. So I'm actually just keeping the vial right in the bag that's labeled month 1. So I'm going to just put it back in the bag. And then I'm going to go and I'll put it back in the refrigerator. They do recommend that you keep this refrigerated. So that's what I am going to do is I grabbed a little Tupperware, one of the little Rubbermaid, the smallest ones that they have. I just grabbed a Rubbermaid dish, and I went ahead and I put the three little baggies in the little Rubbermaid dish. And then I just shoved it into the back of my refrigerator, and, there the bag sits. Um, or, the little thing sits with the little baggies in it. That way, I just figured putting them in the little Rubbermaid thingy, it keeps everything together in one spot. Nothing gets, because everything is small, in our refrigerators sometimes tend to get a little packed full of stuff. Things get shoved around, and I didn't want anything to get shoved into the back and then it falls off the shelf, and then I can't find it when I need it. So I just put mine in a little dish, a little plastic dish, and just put it in the back of my refrigerator. And that's where I decided that I'm going to keep them the duration that I'm on this semaglutide. So now this is shot number 2, so I've completed 1 full week. Um, I haven't noticed really many changes. I will say, and I think I mentioned this last week when I did a midweek check-in. I had gone out to lunch, and I got a brownie and I brought it home with me because so I had a late breakfast, and then I went to the gym, and then my husband and I went out to lunch. And so when we went out to lunch, I wasn't as hungry as I thought that I was, probably because of the late breakfast. So I ate about half my lunch, and I brought the rest of it home, and I ate it the next day. And so the brownie I saved, and I had it more as like um, a mid-afternoon snack. And then I also had a cup of hot chocolate. And I will say, when I had the hot chocolate, I did have I did feel like my stomach was a little bit upset. Now, I don't know if I've been cutting back on sugar anyway. So I don't know if it was the brownie and the hot chocolate, if it was just more sugar than my body's used to. I don't know. I don't know if they're related, if it was just a coincidence, if it's just, my body saying, what is it with all the sugar today between the brownie and the hot chocolate. I do think I did a little bit of research online, and there is a such thing as sugar-free hot chocolate. Um, if you look it up, like a lot of a lot of there's like live recipes that people do on YouTube, but there's also just regular videos. If you go to whatever web browser you use, I use Google, and I put in, like a homemade recipe for sugar-free hot chocolate mix. And you can make your own, like tub of hot chocolate mix, and then just scoop out, a tablespoon or whatever at a time. And it's really basically just like the Hershey's cocoa and some sort of sweetener, the Swerve or whatever. Um, I think there's another, like one other ingredient. It's very easy to make. I have made homemade hot chocolate mix in the past. Is it the same as Swiss Miss? No. Swiss Miss makes a sugar-free hot chocolate in the packets, just like the regular one. And I actually kind of thought that I might try that and just see, kind of compare it when I make my own using the Hershey's powder and the other like 1 or 2 ingredients. Like I said, I don't remember offhand. It was last winter when I tried it. I just remember the 2 definite things was the cocoa powder and a sweetener. And I think I had Swerve last year. And that I do think that there's one other thing, but I don't remember. I feel like that's not it, but I don't know. Um, but I'd like to compare and see is what I make at home versus the Swiss Miss sugar-free packets, you know, how do they compare in taste? So maybe I'll look at the recipe and I'll buy a box of the sugar-free, and, maybe we can do a taste test together and just see. But if you've had made your own or whatever, and you would like to share, that would be awesome, would be much appreciated. Um, but other than that, in the first week, I really haven't noticed a big difference. Um, I know I'm mindful. I'm trying to be more mindful. Um, but like that's because I want to. I want to pay attention. I want to know, how do I feel? How's my stomach feeling? How's my energy feeling? How's my sleep feeling? Now, I will say I've been drinking a lot more water. My sleep has not been as good because almost every night I've gotten up twice in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. So I did read that your body kind of gets used to, and you won't, you might wake up once, but you won't, keep waking up 2 or 3 times a night as your body gets used to the increased water intake. So we'll see. I do plan on continuing to drink a lot of water, uh, or liquids. I don't drink soda anyway, and I don't drink a whole lot of juice, but I do tend to buy like the packets. And because I'm pretty physically active anyway, I buy like the Noon or whatever, the electrolyte powders, and add them into my water. So we're like, when I say water, I don't want to be deceptive. I say water, but it's really not water. I drink a lot of electrolyte drinks, or I add like a sugar-free, uh, like the Mios that they have in the store, but they have other options that are sugar-free. I also like the True Lemon and the True Lime, and you can get those on Amazon. Um, I mean, like Target and like the stores sell them too, but I do, at least where I'm at, there's not usually a whole lot of variety as far as flavors. The True Lemon, they've got peach and raspberry and strawberry, and they've got all these flavors on Amazon that just they're not options in my store. Like I've got a mixed berry, I think, and so I sometimes will order the True Lemons on Amazon just because I can get different flavors than I can get in the store. So I've been drinking more, using my water bottle more, and adding things to my water, just because, you know, pl- I personally just find plain water it gets boring after a while. And then, every morning I make my hot tea. But in my hot tea, I add unflavored collagen. I use Vital Proteins collagen powder. Um, that has 20 grams of protein. So, like my hot tea in the morning also has 20 grams of protein. And, so I start, and I have a pretty good size, like this is like a 16-ounce mug that I drink of tea in the morning. So, I start my day off with tea. I don't drink coffee. So I have the tea with the collagen powder. I can't remember if I mentioned it before, but I started using collagen powder a couple years ago because my knees were like, they sounded like when I would be at the gym or doing something, or even just walking on the stairs. But like if I was doing a squat, my knees sounded like Rice Krispies. Like they were creaking and crackling, and oh my gosh. And it was uncomfortable. So I started using collagen, and I did mess around a little bit, and I settled on the Vital Proteins because it had more collagen than some of the other brands, and it had the protein. And I've been trying to get more protein in my day, and a lot of the collagens that I tried didn't have that much protein in them. So that's kind of how I find that, especially in hot, it mixes well. It doesn't get all clumpy. There's not a huge clump of it at the bottom of the glass, when I'm done drinking in the morning. But it helped with my knees feel they don't make that sound anymore. They don't hurt at all like they were. I also noticed, like, especially in the wintertime, my skin, especially back here, my legs a little bit too, but especially back here, my skin felt scaly. Um, and last winter, uh, like I didn't, my skin just is, it's not as dry. So I'm assuming as we head into winter of 2025, I'm probably also going to notice that, this part of my arm just isn't all scaly and dry and itchy. So the collagen helped with that as well. But, that's that for, of one full week. I haven't noticed much of a difference yet. I forgot to weigh myself this morning. I have not eaten yet. I drank the tea, but I have not eaten yet. So maybe I'll weigh, because I wanted to weigh myself on every Friday morning before, like, as I was getting in the shower before I did the shot. So I'll do a weight, and when I do when I type in the episode description, I'll put in there um, if I lost anything. I don't think that I have, but you never know. So when I do the description, I will put in there whether or not I lost any weight. I went to the gym Monday and Wednesday, and I ran Tuesday and Thursday, which is normal for me. Well, the running is. The gym, we've been hit or miss, and I'm trying to make that more consistent again like we used to. So anyway, that's it. Like I said, no major, the one little tummy thing after the brownie and the hot chocolate, so I don't know if that was because of the injection, if that was just because my body's not used to that, that much sugar in one day. I don't know. I don't even know that I don't want to test that either. I don't want to repeat and see which way, like what the reason was, because when I say I had a stomach ache, like I did not feel good. Like I had to lay down. My stomach was, ugh. So, I don't want a repeat of that. So I think that's another reason I've been mindful too. And I know that, a stomach ache can be a side effect. So I don't know, it will be something to, just keep in mind. And I think that's helpful just to know, I don't want to feel like that again. So I'm going to watch what I'm eating. I'm going to watch what I'm snacking on. So it's good anyway. So, um, so that's where I'm at. I hope that you'll subscribe and continue following. We'll, get into a little bit more, as the weeks go on, and I will share, um, all the things, how it's going and where things are at. So I will see you next time. And I won't do a video over the weekend. So do have a good weekend, and I will see you like early next week. Again, take care. Bye.